Ladies and gents, cats and kittens, welcome to Skip Squad Chronicles, the podcast where we celebrate the incredible stories behind the jump rope community. I'm your host, Dizzy Skips, and I'm so grateful you've tuned in. Each week, I sit down with a fellow jumper to uncover what makes them tick, why they jump, and the impact it's had on their life. It's all about sharing the joy, challenges, and inspiration that keeps us coming back to the rope. This week, I'm thrilled to chat with Sean Hargis. You may know him as C. Sean Skip on Instagram. I've linked his profile in the show notes. We had an amazing conversation. I can't wait for you to hear it. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Sean Hargis, thank you so much for joining me on Skip Squad Chronicles. This is,
Thanks
episode
for having
8.
me.
Yeah,
All right.
it's a pleasure to have you.
I'm excited to be here.
Let me ask you to tell us a little bit about where you're at.
I'm a suburb of Atlanta. I've been down here about 10 years. The weather is better than what you have. It's been pretty good, but it does get cold in the mornings. It's usually when I jump, so it's some pretty rough jump sessions, particularly in the wintertime.
Yeah. So do you always jump in the morning?
Not always, in the morning I get my daughter on the bus and get her to school, so the only time I really got is to do it right after I get her on there. So I'll go and it'll still be dark usually, and I'll try to get some exercise in. And on the weekends, sometimes I can push it off to the afternoon maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends. So I just try to fit it wherever I can. It's just, I've got 2 kids and a wife. So I'm really busy. So I just, I never know when I get the opportunity.
Right. So when did you start jumping?
So I started in 2020 during COVID, like a lot of folks. When I originally didn't even plan on jumping. What I was trying to do was go running again. I used to run a little bit. But then I realized it's COVID. I got 2 small kids at home. I'm going to run in a weird circle, and it's going to look it's going to look strange. Sean just running in this weird circle of the neighborhood. So I found an old rope. I did Taekwondo and karate years and years ago, and we would warm up with the rope. So I thought, well, I'll just pick up the rope and try that again. And I picked it up, and I was like, I really like this. This is a lot of fun. So I started looking online. I didn't have Instagram or anything at the time, so I was looking at YouTube. I was looking at people like Mira and Rush Athletics and Coach Nate, those guys, and trying to see some of the moves that they did. And I'll be honest, man, I think between watching those YouTubes and trying to learn some of those moves and the fact that my wife got a dog in 2020, I think it pulled me out of a COVID funk, to be honest with you.
Mm.
I never really considered myself an extrovert, but apparently I was more of one than I thought. And I really did struggle kind of being in isolation, like a lot of folks. So that's when I started.
Cool. Was there anyone in particular that inspired you to start, or was it just the fact that you had kind of done the warm-ups in the past? And
it wasn't any particular person. Honestly, I'm not even sure how it kind of happened. I jump alone. There's not many skippers around here. There's not any that I'm aware of, around. There is one girl who I haven't met yet, Kelly Griffins. She's got some great footwork. Would like to meet up with
She's
her
amazing.
someday.
Yeah.
But you go outside and jump, and people look at you kind of strange. So
Yeah,
it's
right.
not a normal mainstream kind of thing, at least not here.
Yeah. Do you jump outside all the time?
Most of the time. I will say I've tried a couple of times to jump at the gym. Same thing, I get weird looks. So I'm a little put off, a little intimidated by that. I'm getting over it. So I think I'm going to jump at the gym more, but mostly I jump outside. I jump in my backyard a lot. I jump at the tennis courts here. There's quite a few town centers close by where we live in Swanee and Sugar Hill and Beaufort. And they're kind of nice spots. And I thought, man, that might be a good place to go, get some skipping in, early in the morning or something. So I think I'm going to try that out, see how it goes.
Cool.
Yeah.
So when you started jumping, how did you learn, or how did you progress? I had that same experience, by the way, with doing martial arts and boxing and using the rope for warm up, but not really doing anything more than a cross here or there.
I don't know. These guys I watched on YouTube, they all, something unique they brought to the table that I found interesting. Like Rush Athletics, man, he does amazing boxer moves. And I was like, I want to try that double under. I'm not double skipping. We all start out trying to do that, and I knew that was wrong. So I wanted to try to do that double under. And I'll be honest, it took me about 2 or 3 months to figure that out. So, I just really just kept hammering it. I really didn't have, there was no unique approach to trying to learn something. I would just see something and try to emulate it best I could. And it seems to have worked out.
Yeah. So you're just seeing things like on Instagram other people are doing and then trying to learn
There's all
that way?
YouTube, really. I didn't even
Okay.
know what Instagram was. I guess if I'm 49, and a lot of people consider me a boomer, which I'm not a boomer. I'm an Xer, but
Right. Right.
they're like, he can't use technology. So it was all YouTube for me. I didn't have Instagram or TikTok or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
where I started.
That's actually the way I stumbled. That was the first time I saw Lauren was on YouTube. I think I
I
was
saw her.
watching other
No, I saw
videos.
her on I think it was a BBC News article.
Really?
They had a big write up on her, and she was talking about starting the same time. Like this girl's no different than me. Yeah, we all had the same kind of motivation. Being stuck
Yeah.
at home and not being able to get out, and it was kind of the new thing
Right.
we found to help us pull out of a funk.
Yeah, no kidding. She does have a little bouncier hair than you do, I will say, Sean.
God, she has hair. I don't really have.
She has very bouncy. I know, me too,
Yeah,
right?
she's very good. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the first video I remember seeing of her was that mashup of AC/DC Back in Black with the Bee Gees
Oh
Saturday
yeah,
night. My gosh. Just like I must have watched that thing 15 times in a row, just like this lady, how does she move like that? It was,
talented. She's talented. Yeah,
yeah, quite impressive. So you're a husband and a father. You've got two kids, is that right?
yeah. I've got a son in college, and I got a daughter that's in high school, and then my wife is home. She works. So between all of that, stay pretty busy. So I try to fit it in
Yeah.
wherever I can.
And what do you do for work?
So I work for a consulting company here in Atlanta. Actually, it was
Okay.
my boss actually is the one who kind of came with the idea. We were talking about it somewhere, and she's like, "You could go on Instagram, or was it TikTok? I don't remember which one she said." So I thought,
Hmm.
that might be fun, just kind of a stress reliever, make some videos of learning these moves, and it's actually my wife's cousin who showed me how to set up an Instagram account and do it. So
Yeah,
thanks to her, Asha.
that's cool. So how would you describe like your skipping style or the kind of skipping that you like to do?
So I don't know. I mean, my favorite moves would be like a mic release, just general releases. I really enjoy those. I have been trying to improve my shuffle work. And so I joined that same group that Aaron joined when he talked to you. I joined that same group to try to improve my footwork. And it's getting
Hmm.
better, but it's
Good.
not to the caliber that some of these folks are doing. So I'm trying to improve that. I'm also trying to improve my raps. I struggle with those. I'll be honest, I kind of get confused with where that rope is. A lot
Hmm.
of times what I do is I'll screen grab there's somebody doing something really cool, and I'll just slow it down and try to see where that rope is to see if I can
Yeah,
figure it out. And it takes me a while. It does take me some time to get those, but I'm getting better with those as well.
that's cool. Janie was talking about that. That's something that just never occurred to me, like recording my screen and then slowing it down. It makes perfect sense.
I have to, 'cause otherwise I don't know where it is.
Right.
Those
Yeah.
guys move so fast.
My
Yeah,
gosh. Yeah.
trying to catch that move and get that. And I'll be honest, I get bent out of shape sometimes. I can't get something. I'm throwing the rope a lot. People have joked and they've made comments. I'm the rope thrower, and I don't even realize I'm doing it, man. It's just a habit. And then I go back and look at it. I do the damn thing again. And so it's just something that I
It
do.
always makes me laugh. Always.
Yeah, I always throw it, but we get there. We just got to take our time and not get bent out of shape, and it'll come. And I'm constantly working on 5 or 6 different things at any
Hmm.
moment. There's a dozen or more moves I want to learn how to do,
Do you
combinations I want
plan
to
them
learn how to
out?
do. Not really. I usually, when I'm getting ready, I'll do like a shuffle warm up to try to get my joints working. At my age, it takes a little bit to get those wheels greased and going. So I'll do that, and then there's usually, like I said, 5 or 6 different moves I want to work on. So I'll spend about 10 minutes on each. If I can combine them together, that's great. And it just depends. Sometimes I'm lucky and I can get something. Other times it takes more work. Like switch crosses took me months. My brain just couldn't
Mm.
do it. And that's what I've
Yeah.
discovered about the rope. It's as much of a mental thing that it is a physical thing.
Right? Yeah.
And I didn't know that. I learned the hard way. So
Yeah. When did that start to occur to you? Or like what was it that made you think, "Oh wow, this is a lot more mental than I thought."
I would say it was about 3 weeks to a month in. I'd already identified. I've been watching Coach Nate and Rush
He's
Athletics,
great, by the
and
way. I love him.
yeah, and you're seeing what I thought would be just a physical timing thing. But once I got into it, I realized it was so much more of a mental thing to keep the rope flowing, knowing where the rope is, not hitting you in the head, and getting the motor skills to do a certain move, because these are things that we don't do every day. So it takes some work to get those muscles to react the way you want them. And I still struggle with it. I still struggle with some
Yeah.
moves that I know
Yeah.
purely is a mental thing. And eventually I'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. I think, well, my jump rope coach said to me early on, or said to his students early on, I think you should be practicing single arm swings every time you go out. Just practicing both sides, practicing both sides. And at first I thought, well, you'll get that down pretty easy, right? But I do it. And I have noticed that it does kind of help bring the different hemispheres of my brain it's like training both sides of my body. And I feel a lot more ambidextrous now
Yep.
because of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've noticed the same thing. Cause I've not had a coach, so I've just kind of been flailing out there on my own really, but I've noticed the exact same thing, man. It's a brain train as much as a physical event. So
Yeah. Do you find like I've had it happen where I'm trying to learn something and it's like I'm thinking about it too much. I try it until, it's 10 or 15 minutes and then I'm sort of frustrated and then I just drop it. And then like the
yeah,
next day I go back and then it's weirdly easy, or it maybe not easy, but it's like my progress by just thinking about it or letting it stew. Just, I'm making progress while I'm not actually thinking about it. My brain's kind of chewing on it. And then
yep.
do you have that
And
happen?
by that happens to me, and my wife, she said something to the similar. At some point, you just got to jump in and try it out. And
Hmm.
in no truer words than that, even with a rope, sometimes you got to take it to the
Yeah.
face, which is back of the head, so you get it. It's
Yeah.
just how it is.
Totally. You got to be willing to make it hurt so good to
That's
to
it. That's
nail it
all part
down.
of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the learning curve.
that's
It's the
right.
badge of honor.
Yeah. So how has the jump rope community affected you? You said you weren't really cognizant of people on Instagram doing this, but once you did set up your Instagram account, did that change how you jumped or how you approach things?
Yeah, it did change how I approach things. So, one, social media and the negative connotations that we know and the damage it can do. But this is a weird pocket of motivation and support that I've not really seen anywhere. Everyone wants everyone to succeed. We want to see someone be able to land something new, and you try to help them out. I've helped a few folks. Different folks have helped me with things I've struggled with. Most recently, the TS. I just couldn't do it. But Aaron, he did a tutorial for me and showed me how he does it, because he does it like he's just changing socks, man. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
It's nothing for him. And I'd say for years I've struggled with that move, and I've been able to
Yeah.
land it, in part because of the help he's provided. So, the folks have been just great in helping me really elevate my jump game quickly. So it's been good.
Cool. So for those of us who are not down with all of the different terms or trick names, what is a TS?
So TS is where your hands go behind your back and across, and you spin the rope, and it comes over you, and you jump over it.
Right. Okay. I've seen
It's
Skippy Immy do that as well.
She can. And then you also have the other thing about like that is the AS, where you go under the legs, kind of under your butt, and the rope will spin over you as well. So there's a couple of
Okay.
different variations of taking that approach, and I've struggled with them, but through the help of the online community, I've been able to land some of these moves and kind of integrate them into some different combinations. And it feels great when you get it. It
Yeah.
feels
It's
really good when you
amazing.
get it.
You do releases so well, Sean. I
Oh,
love
thanks.
watching your releases, and I'm curious, like, how long did it take you to nail that?
It took like a year. It took a long
Yeah.
time, and part of it is exactly what you talked about. I just have to just do it. I'm overthinking it. I just need to try it out. So now it's a matter of, I know where the rope should be. Now whether or not my hands are going to be there is a different story. But
Yeah.
that's kind of the approach I take now.
Yeah. Was there any specific help you found, or was there anybody that you found online that gave you a tutorial that made it easier for you?
Don't know if it made it easier, but sparked the whole thing. Coach Mira, her Tricky Tuesdays that she did on YouTube years. I don't know if she still does it. But I was watching her YouTubes, and just so much energy, and such skill of how she's able to do a lot of things without even really looking at it. And so that kind of set that spark for me in 2020. So that was actually one of the first moves I tried to do was the mix. And now
Really?
I really like doing the mix and different kinds of releases now.
Yeah. Isn't Mira about the smiliest jumper out there?
She
She has
is,
just got a
yeah.
radiant smile, right?
She's very supportive as well.
Yeah,
She's a
she is.
great person.
Yeah, I was just talking to Skippy Emmy about her because both of us got the beaded. Mira has a weighted beaded rope from Weight Rope, and it's supposed to be the heaviest beaded rope out there. And both Emmy and I got the same rope, and it's been a lot of fun. It's fun to jump with a heavier rope and then scale down to a normal beaded rope and then scale down to a speed rope. You feel like Superman, you know?
It's weird. It is weird.
Yeah.
My family find it kind of weird and obsessive that I do this, but they're at the same time they're very supportive. So a lot of my ropes, my family have gotten me, and my brother-in-law got me 1.5 pounder one time, and I wore that thing out. I ended up breaking it because I just used it so much, but it was a
One and
beast.
a half pounds is a heavy rope.
It was tough, and I got to the point where I could do a couple of crosses, but not much more than that, and my shoulders were just wrecked. My body
Yeah,
was
right.
wrecked. I ended up breaking it, I guess, about 8 months in.
Yeah.
But typically, I jumping with beaded ropes for years. I did start with 4 millimeter and 5 millimeter PVC, but
Hmm.
I found them so light. I didn't get the feedback I was wanting.
Right.
So I switched to a beaded rope, and I've been a beaded rope forever. But just in the last 2 weeks, I've switched to 6 millimeter PVC, and I like that. It's got heft. It's got some weight like a beaded rope, but it's got the
Hmm.
forgivingness of a PVC. You know,
Okay.
I can take a mistake and kind of pull it in that I can't
Hmm.
do with a beaded rope. So I'm going to try that for a
Yeah.
while, see how it goes.
So where do you get your ropes? Or are you obsessive like me and get them from a bunch of different places?
I tried different places. I've gotten a couple from Elevate in the
Hmm.
past. I really like those Elite SRS folks up in Washington. They've got some nice stuff. That's where I've recently been getting my ropes from, and I've got a dope rope as well. So
Okay.
that I've had for quite a while.
Do you name your ropes like I do, Sean?
I don't, but I will say this one, my beaded rope. So I like green a lot. So
Yeah.
I call it kind of the Hulk rope. And I know you got yours, the
Nice.
Kermit, right?
Right.
So
Kermit.
I call it my Hulk rope because it's like, the Hulk Hogan, or not Hulk Hogan, the Hulk green.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
think it shows up
Bruce
pretty well on
Banner.
the reels. So
Yeah.
I like that one. Even the PVC I got is green. So I'm partial to the neon green myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I like green as well. I noticed like I have a speed rope from U-Rope that is orange and it's called a Sunset Duo. So it's got two different orange colors in the rope. And they have a green one that's like that, where it's got like a lighter green and a darker green, and it gives it this cool effect. And I think they show up pretty well on,
I'll have
well,
to check
when you've
that
got
out.
decent light. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I'll have to check
sometimes when I'm doing some of the night jump stuff, the speed ropes just don't show up. I've wondered watching a few videos, like, I wonder if people think I'm just out there moving my hands and not really jumping, like,
I thought something similar, and I know what folks are going through.
yeah,
Even if it's a 4 millimeter or 5 millimeter, they're not showing, but those people have still put in the work. I know what they're
yeah,
doing, but it's not showing up in the reel quite right.
right, right.
So
I
maybe
need to
light
find a good
placement, something like
quality
that.
light up one.
So I've seen a few folks with some pretty wicked LED ones. I've never actually jumped with those myself, but it looks kind of
Yeah,
cool. So
yeah, it
maybe in the
does look kind
future,
of cool.
yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned you were trying to kind of figure out what's next, or like what is your next goal? What are you working on now?
It's a mix, man. So reps, I'm really trying to get, but it's the brain hemisphere thing. I struggle mentally with some of that, so I'm really trying to get that. I've seen folks out there that it just look so effortless. It's going to take
Hmm.
more effort from me, so I'm trying to get there. So I'm working on that, and then
Hmm.
my shuffles, man. Like people like Angeline out there, you see her, man, and it's just she's so good with her feet. So I'm trying to learn some of the footwork. And I've
Mm-hmm.
got this weird left hand thing. I don't know what it does, but it just kind of floats up. So I'm like trying to force that hand down. It doesn't want to
And then
play
you've got a
nice
ghost
sometimes.
hand?
Yeah, I don't know what it's doing. So, I'm trying to work on keeping that hand in check. And I know everybody's got the thing, right? There's a weird, everybody's got some kind of weirdness about them. To me, it's the left hand. It just kind of floats. So yeah,
That's
I'm in on
funny.
those kind of things.
Sean and his demon hand. It's doing its own thing. What's been some of the hardest stuff for you to learn? Like you mentioned raps.
Uh, I not a particular move, but I will say something I've always kind of struggled with, and even today is building out combinations.
Sure.
Trying to stitch different moves together. I just struggle with that sometimes, and occasionally, I'll be doing something, I'll accidentally fall into a connection to another move just by mistake, and I go, "Wow!" Have that eureka moment. I think I can do that. Mix those together. That would be kind of cool. But combos, figuring out what to string together can be tough. I'm more of a
Sure.
freestyle person.
Yeah.
I'm not regimented double unders, double under crosses, switch crosses, double under switch crosses. I do all those things, but I don't do those all the time, and I want to change things up and try new stuff.
So do you ever choreograph stuff, or do you find that you overthink it sometimes when you're trying to string things together?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And part of what's helped me is I'll find somebody who's done something really cool that I like, and
Mm-hmm.
most of the time I can't repeat what they've done through the whole thing, but a segment of it, I want to recreate those 3 or 4 moves because
Yeah.
they're all tough moves that I need to try to learn how to do. So that's what I do. I'll play with that for a week or two sometimes. Just try to learn that, and I'll drill that over and over and over again
Yeah.
until I
Yeah.
get it right.
Do you have this experience where you go back and watch a video of yourself jumping and see something that you maybe didn't realize in the moment that you did, where you're like, wow, that's cool. I like that.
I've had that happen. I've also happened where I've whacked myself in the head a couple times and go, I don't understand. I don't understand how that happened. What did I do wrong? And then I look at the video, and and my left hand's supposed to be behind my back all the way over, and it's like at the middle of my back. So the
Right.
rope had nowhere to
Yeah.
go. So
Yeah.
other than to my head. So yeah, I've had
Yeah.
those moments as well. So I
Yeah.
do record them for
That's
that to figure out where I can improve.
sure. Yeah. I've totally had that happen too. Like, I can't understand why I keep launching my headphones off my head with my rope. And
Yeah,
then, oh, it's because my arms are way out here.
yeah,
There's no
exactly.
clearance.
Yep, same
Yeah.
thing.
So, do you laugh at yourself at all while you're jumping?
I do. It's an array of emotions.
Yeah.
I laugh. Sometimes I
You
cry. I
you
get
throw the
angry.
rope. Yeah.
Throw the rope, which somehow that's the one that makes it into the reels. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me throwing the rope, but I go through the whole gamut, man.
Yeah.
It's a roller coaster ride. I love it.
Do you listen to music while you jump?
I do. Not all the time. I
Okay.
would say I listen to music probably 75% of the time, but
Okay.
sometimes, particularly with double unders and double under crosses and switch crosses and double under switch crosses, I like to hear the rope. Something about that rhythm helps me figure out space and time with it. So for those moves, I don't listen to music. But if it's just freestyle stuff, yeah, I listen to all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just I grew up in the '80s, so hair metal, '80s hair metal I like,
Yeah.
'90s rap, EDM I
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Even classical music, I listen to classical. I'm not a refined or cultured person by any means, but for some
Right.
reason it helps me concentrate. I don't know what it is, but I do listen to it as well.
I mean, so I'm sorry, what decides whether or not you're listening to music is whether or not you're working on
Yeah,
something where you
yeah,
need
yeah.
to
It depends
hear.
on what I'm doing. Yeah. If it's just freestyle stuff, it's fair game for almost anything. Some moves I just don't listen to music, or I listen to
Yeah.
specific kinds of music.
When you're listening to music, are you syncing your jumping with the music, or are you just kind of listening to music and jumping?
No, if it's got a regular beat that
Mm-hmm.
I can pull out in my head, yeah, I'll do it to try to match it, but in general I don't.
Yeah. Do you have a warm-up routine or a cool-down routine that you use when you're jumping?
Footwork is my warm up.
Okay.
I really like I like to just keep light feet footwork, and they seems to get all the joints going. Sometimes I'll
Mm-hmm.
do jumping jacks. or squat to try to warm up. And I've had some strange looks from folks on a tennis court at 6:30 in the morning, like, what's this guy
When you're
standing there doing
squatting,
squats?
what
It's
is he
just
doing
him.
over there?
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah,
so I do some of that too, because preparation is key, right? So
yeah,
I do that too.
I've had those funny looks as well, and of course, I put on these workout pants that are those like tight pants, and I'm out there doing
Yeah,
squats, and people walk by. I've got the flaming red shoes on.
yeah.
I do get a few funny looks, but it's their business, I
I
guess.
get all kinds of strange. Not that I'm in a very public area, right? But my tennis court and our little HOA. Sometimes people stop and play in video me, which is kind of weird. I've had that
Yeah,
happen a few times. They're like 6:30 in the morning. They it's like car circles, and they stop and they get out and they'll just be filming me for a while. I
isn't
don't
it
mind
weird?
it, but it just seems kind of weird.
It is kind of weird. I've had that happen too. I've had it happen where kids are driving downtown and I'm like walking the dog and I'm shuffling and kids will hold their phones out the window as they drive by slowly and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, cool, I guess. I've never seen it turn up. I'm sure it turns up on social somewhere like, look at this nut job. What skill are you most proud of? Like of the stuff that you've learned, what are you most proud of?
I struggle with the Mamba quite a bit, and I've gotten that down. So maybe
Yeah.
that if I had to give an answer, I'd say Mamba.
How hard was it for you to go from release to Mamba? So can you describe the Mamba for people who may not understand what that is?
So a Mamba is a mick just on the other side of the body in the opposite direction. So it's a rotation figure eight of the rope, pretty much. It's a mick one direction, a mick the other, and it's making like a figure eight.
So, and when you say one direction and the other, it's passing in front of your body, going from like left to
Passing in front
right,
of your
back.
body, yeah, spinning one way and
Okay.
then it's spinning the other on the other side. That probably I would say. And then you've got your 360 Mambas where you spin completely around with the rope. And
Yeah.
then you've got there are other types where you're going backwards in the other direction. And then there's the Mambas where it's like it's a Mamba, but then you catch the rope maybe behind your head. You kind of let it go and it comes back. So just variations of Mambas I've really enjoyed. So probably
Yeah.
more most
That
proud
one
of
is
those.
so
But
impressive. The catch like right behind your shoulder or behind your
yeah,
head.
yeah.
So I'm curious, like that is not something that I can currently do. I'm sure I will get it at some point, but
But yeah, I'm sure you
when you
can.
were doing a trick like that, the catch looks like magic to me. Like when I watch people do that, like how in the world did you know the handle was going to be there at the time? Like, is it a timing thing that you've done it so much that your like muscle memory knows, hey, it's going to be there?
I
Or
don't know if I had to give an answer. I'm not sure I would say timing, but it's understanding your reach, where your arm is, how long is your arm, where are you letting the rope go, and how much are you bringing that hand in to put that rope where you want it to be, keeping in mind the length of the rope. So, if I'm spinning it and I bring it in too close, then it's going to come way out there and be harder to catch. So it's just a matter of, understanding in space where you got to put that hand when you let it
yeah,
go. I would say more than anything. And it just comes with practice. It's the same thing with the mick.
yeah,
I mean, eventually you get to the point where you don't have to look at where the rope is. You just know where it's going to be and you just put your
yeah,
hand there and handle appears. And
yeah.
it's no different with others.
Yeah, I'm still not smooth with the Mick by any stretch, but I have found that at some points, if I don't look, I'm better off. It's like if I'm looking, I'm overthinking it sometimes.
Yeah. I've had that
It's
happen
like if I
quite a
can
bit.
feel it. Yeah. Do you have times where you feel like you need to go out and jump, but you're having trouble getting motivated, or are you always raring to go?
You know, it's strange, but I've been doing this over 4 years and it's as much part of me as today as it was then.
Yeah,
I just want to go. I want to
that's
go bounce.
awesome. Yeah,
I don't have to video anything. I just want to go and practice some things, and I'm
yeah,
always looking for an opportunity to go. My wife has already something planned in a couple of weeks, and I'm like, oh, well, you go do that. I'll go get some skipping in, and she's like,
yeah.
you and your skipping,
You and your
and
skipping.
yeah. So I always try to fit it in where I can. I really enjoy it. So yeah, I'll
Yeah.
do it as long as my body lets me do it. So we'll see
Yeah.
how it goes.
So can you talk about the benefits that you've got personally from jumping rope? Like once you kind of switch from the, hey, I'm going to start running or start running again to like skipping rope, how did it
I would
affect
say
you?
well, physically, I've got more stamina. I don't get winded as often. I don't know what my oxygen intake is, but it's pretty good, I'd imagine. And I used to have foot pain. I used to have a lot of foot pain. I went to a foot doctor years ago, and he
Hmm.
said, "Well, you're losing the fat in your feet. That's why you've got all this pain. You've got to wear these special, the thing that the contraption that pulls the heel back. You're supposed to sleep in it, you know."
Hmm.
And I did it, and it was just awful. And I think it was like $90 for this plastic boot. And but since I've been skipping rope, I don't have that pain anymore. It's gone. And
Yeah.
I've built up the muscles in the ankles and the calf area, and I don't have any of that pain anymore. I used to
Yeah.
have kind of hip pain a little bit and lower back pain.
Hmm.
I don't have it anymore. It's gone.
Yeah.
I can tell, physically, I'm in a lot better shape than what I used to be.
Sure.
At 49, man, I've got a, I'm facing all kinds of health issues, right? I'm coming up on that
Hmm.
door. So, you got to watch your diet and get more exercise. And, my
Right.
heart rate's pretty low. I mean, it's in the low 60s and sometimes I hit the upper 50s, you
Hmm.
know, and I know people that, it's 70s and 80s. So, I think that's
Yeah.
been a big improvement for me.
Yeah.
So many physical benefits. I don't even begin to, understand all of them. I know that I've
Right.
read somewhere that the bouncing itself is supposed to have some benefit to the body. I don't know
Hmm.
what that is, but
Yeah.
it seems to be working. Mentally though
How
was
about
the biggest surprise. Yeah, that was a surprise. The mental health pulled me out of the funk, man, for COVID. I really did
Yeah.
struggle with that, and I feel like I have a brighter outlook. I feel like I have a better demeanor.
Hmm.
It's really improved things for me there. I really look forward to it. So, I'm
Hmm.
always excited to kind of get out there and do that. And I think that carries throughout the day.
That's so great. Yeah.
Don't ask my kids though;
So
they'll probably think I'm a grump. If you ask my kids, they'll think I'm probably just a grumpy old man. But I think I've noticed the difference, and whether it's in my imagination, I guess it doesn't matter. But
yeah. So
I
they
think
never
so.
send you out to skip like, Dad, you're grumpy, go out and skip a bit.
They've not actually said that, but that could be what they're thinking. They do think that it's a bit obsessive and weird, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great. I mean, I've had the same sort of mental health benefits and physical health benefits as well. Like the balance thing. I joked before,
Good
it's
one.
not really a
Yeah,
joke, but like just being able to like stand on one foot in the shower and bend over and pick up the soap and not have to worry about face planting, you know?
I didn't think of that. Yeah, that's a good one. The reaction time is improved. I've
Insane.
noticed that, and I've noticed that in a few weird situations, and I have to attribute it to jumping rope because you've got to know where that rope is, and you got to grab it.
Yeah.
So I think that's improvement as well.
Yeah. Andrea mentioned that on the first episode was like her reaction time. And I've noticed the same thing too. Like scoot something off the table and just grab it real quick without even thinking, you know?
I've had a few moments like that, and it's kind of surprised me. So I attribute it
Yeah.
to jumping rope.
Yeah. So would you what would you tell somebody who is thinking about, maybe around our age, thinking about getting into jump rope, but thinking maybe, I don't know if this is for me or I'm not sure I can do it.
Well, I've told a lot of people this. Anybody can do it. It's low impact. I don't care if you're 40 or 70. You can do it. The benefits for your body are going to be huge, and you don't have to go out there and push hard to do it. You know, 6 7 minutes total. A day. I think you'd see improvement, right? 10 seconds, take a break. 20 seconds, take a break. If you can do that for a total of 7 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that, I think it would be very beneficial to a lot of folks.
Sure.
Just get out there and try it. You don't
Yeah.
have to start with basic bounce and move on to boxer step, and next thing you're stacking skills and you're learning a lot of really cool things.
Yeah. So like if people are thinking about getting into jumping or thinking into learning, what sort of rope would you recommend for them?
I would recommend the beaded rope because they've got a
Why?
little bit of weight to them, so you know where they're going to be. You've got the feedback. You know if what you're doing is right, because the rope
Hmm.
will tell you if you don't.
Hmm.
Also, beaded ropes tend to last a lot longer. So if you're out there with a beaded rope and you're doing a few minutes a day, you don't have to reinvest in a new rope every 3 or 4 months like you have to sometimes with PVCs. You can just
Mm-hmm.
have that same rope, sometimes a year and a half, 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this one, I've taken this thing, I've had it to Morocco, I've had it to England, I've had it to Hawaii, and it's the same rope.
Wow.
It's the same beaded,
Nice.
same handles, but it's lasted me for years. So I would say a beaded
That's
rope.
so cool. You know, PETA mentioned something last week when I talked to her about how she was pissed off that she had to check baggage now because of traveling with the jump rope. And that never occurred
I
to me. Do
saw
you
that.
have to?
So I saw that interview too, and my moment was like, well then, I got lucky because I just put it in a backpack and carried it through, so I didn't get caught with it, and they would have taken it, and that would make me sad. So it's a
Yeah, no
lesson for
kidding.
me. Put it in my checked
Yeah,
luggage.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I am totally with you on the beaded rope thing. Like, I love all sorts of ropes, but beaded is definitely my favorite. And I think it is the feedback. It's also, it makes such a cool noise, like
but
it's
yeah,
just
yeah, it does.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I said, I've switched to the 6 millimeter for now, but we'll see. I don't know if I'll stick with it
Yeah.
or maybe I'll go back to the beaded soon. I don't know.
Yeah. So when you say you switch, you actually are just jumping with that only. You don't like switch up
Yeah,
while you're
yeah.
jumping.
I've got yeah. It's a 6 millimeter, so it's pretty thick.
Hmm.
So like I said, it's got the weight and the feedback of a beaded
Does
rope.
it have
Not
long
quite.
handles too?
Yeah, 8 inches.
Okay. Wow.
Um, and um, and I've just gotten so used to these kind of handles. That's what I use. But it's also forgiving like a PVC. So I've been pretty happy with it. So I'm going to try it out for a while and see how it goes.
Cool. I do have some favorite ropes, but I have a backpack sitting right next to me that probably has 10 ropes in it, and that's what I travel around with. And so I
Yeah.
switch it up, every few minutes sometimes, but it does depend on where I'm jumping. And like I found that heavy rope from Mira Weight is terrific in high wind because it's just got so much mass. I
But
can
yeah,
get it swinging and,
yeah,
it cuts right
yeah.
through it.
The wind will not be able to compete with the rope of that weight.
Yeah. You mentioned jumping on tennis court. Do you jump on a mat when you jump?
Now on the tennis court is asphalt, not concrete. So
Okay.
I'm okay with that. Concrete, I don't jump on there because concrete doesn't have any give. But I do have a concrete patio, kind of in the backyard. That's where I do quite a few of my reels, and I
Hmm.
put a mat there. I do have, I guess
Don't you
it's
have
an
an
8 and a quarter
elevate
mat.
map?
No, I've got. I don't. My wife found me this mat somewhere. I don't
Okay.
know. I do want to get a different one that's a little thicker. But
Hmm.
Christmas wish list maybe.
Hmm.
Yeah, my family out
My,
there maybe.
yeah, yeah. My, if any of Sean's loved ones are listening, my sister got me a Amazon gift card and I got a Rush Athletics mat from
Yeah,
there. And it's a little thicker and a little sturdier than the other mat that I have. And
yeah.
it's
He's
got a
got some
nice
nice.
travel bag too. So if you're taking it, if you like taking stuff on the go or jumping outside, it's got a nice sturdy.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah. Cool. Well, anything else you'd like to say to the jump rope community or any other advice you've got for
You
all
know,
of us
I
out
I
there who
just
are
want to
trying to learn?
I just wanted to say thank you guys for everything. I've learned so much. I've certainly grown as a jumper, and even as a person, with all the positivity that I've seen, a debt of gratitude for all of you out there. I really appreciate it, and you've helped me more than you'll ever know.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I just can't believe how lucky I am to be part of this community. And, like you said, it's this corner of the internet where things are positive and we're patting each other on the back and you want to see people succeed. You want to see them progress.
There's no negativity. Even my mom, she's followed me on there. She's looked at some stuff. She's everybody's just so nice. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's cool.
Yeah.
Everybody's very
Yeah.
nice.
It's awesome. Well, Sean, you're quite an inspiration to me. I always love seeing your skipping and I appreciate your support as well. And I just,
Thank you.
yeah, think the world of you. Thank you so much for coming on to talk to me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in to Skip Squad Chronicles. I'm having a lot of fun and I really appreciate your support. You can help out by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts and giving us a good rating. That helps with visibility. Tell a friend and even send in some feedback through the website at skipsquadchronicles.com. Thanks so much. Happy hopping.